Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Welcome to the Law Academy. Okay, we are 4 minutes away from starting here, but I saw that there are a couple of persons who are already here, and there are persons who are already on YouTube. So I thought to send my love to everyone. Good evening. Thank you so very much for being a part of this training. We sincerely welcome you and we appreciate you all for taking the time to join us on this transformational journey. We sincerely welcome you. Thank you, everyone. Please, you can mute yourselves, turn off your cameras until when necessary, all right? So that I know we all have very handsome and beautiful faces. And I am so excited to anchor, this training with you all. My name is Marigold Okoye, but very soon I'll do a formal introduction. Just give us about 3 minutes. This is 6:57. We like to keep to time because we believe that professionals are persons of excellence and we do not want to waste your time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give us 3 minutes and we will commence in earnest. Once again, thank you very much for being a part of this training and we welcome you to the Law Academy. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, for those who are already on the call, right, please drop your name so that we can address you by your names, right? So if you're on the call, you can drop your name. That's your full name, for instance. My name is Marigold Okoye, right? So you can just drop your full name so that we know the persons that are in the group and how to formally address you, all right? If you're streaming on YouTube, please drop your name in the comment section and I'll see it from my back end and I'll definitely address you properly. Once again, you are welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and we are so happy to have you here. All right, so we're 1 minute away from starting, and I think it's very important that I start by formally introducing myself. My name is Marigold Okoye. I am the founder of the Law Academy. So, the Law Academy is a soft skills school. But before I dive into the details of who we are and what we do, I do need someone to please confirm for me that you can see my screen. All right, please, can you see my screen? Just confirm that you can see my screen because we are currently projecting our onboarding and we need to be sure that everyone can see my screen. So please, if you can see my screen and you can hear me properly, just drop it in the chat, all right? And I'll be able to know that you can see my screen and you can hear me, all right? Welcome, Sir Aliyu. Welcome. Thank you very much for being a part of this training. Welcome, Rosemary. Thank you for being a part of this training. For all the names I get, I would definitely address you properly and appreciate you for joining us here at the Law Academy. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's 7 p.m. and we are going to start officially. All right, so this is the onboarding session, and it is very important that we walk our participants and learners through who we are, what we do, and what we represent. All right. So please, I don't know what you are used to being addressed in other trainings, but here at the Law Academy, we address our participants as learners because we all are learners in training. All right. I'm still learning. Everyone is still learning. So we address our participants as learners. All right, so this is our onboarding session. All right, now who is the Law Academy? The Law Academy is a communication and soft skills training institute focused on helping professionals improve workplace communication, presentation skills, and career confidence. Now, I do know that we all know what soft skills are, right? But then for the benefit of those who might not know what soft skills are those skills that help you balance out your technical skills. Now, a lot of professionals are very technically savvy, all right? You know your onion. You are very much in tune with everything that has to do with the technological aspect of your profession. But when it comes to communicating, when it comes to empathy, when it comes to working with people, you struggle. And this is because soft skills are not skills that are being taught in the conventional educational sector, right? Your university, your every learning process from primary, which is the 6-3-4-4, I mean 6-4-3-3 educational curriculum, right, has made participants listeners, but nobody really teaches you how to speak. Nobody teaches you the soft skills that are necessary for you to be able to thrive in today's world. So at the Law Academy, we train individuals on soft skills. Right now, we help you to improve your communication, presentation skills, and career confidence. We equip individuals and teams with practical communication systems for professional excellence. Now, we do not just work with individuals, we work with corporate organizations, we work with the government, we partner with tech hubs, right? We partner with as many persons as possible who are in the professional sector that, find it difficult to express themselves properly, and they also find it difficult to work with persons. This is what we do at the Law Academy. We hold you by the hand. We are very, very particular, about our learners and the persons who sign up for our training, because we do believe that excellence comes from being able to balance your technical skills with your soft skills. If you have effective technical skills but you are not able to work with people, then it becomes a problem, because at the end of the day you have persons who are very successful, but they cannot place a few persons who can say that they made it out of the trenches because they were able to work with a good boss, or they were able to work with a good team lead. All right, now what are the services we offer at the Law Academy? We offer communication training, we offer presentation coaching, we offer corporate workshops, professional development programs. All right, now who is your trainer? My name is Marigold Okoye. I'm the lead trainer of the Law Academy, right? I'm very passionate about helping emerging talents, professionals, and individuals master the act of public speaking and communication. As the founder of the Law Academy, I've been able to design practical training materials that have helped teams and individuals get better and master their communication skills. All right, but this whole class is not about me, so I'm going to quickly skip this to the next slide. All right. Now, what is impromptu presentation, or why does impromptu presentation matter? Okay, as professionals, you can ask yourself, oh, why does impromptu presentation matter? Why do I need this skill? Why am I supposed to know how to, present myself impromptu? Now, I can tell you for free that impromptu presentation is one of the greatest skills any professional can have. And irrespective of being a professional, as an individual, you have a business, you have a 9 to 5, you work in the corporate sector, or you're just someone who generally has, an opinion, an idea, you should be prepared, right? What impromptu presentation does for you as a professional is that it gives you that grit to be able to stand before a public, to be able to stand before anywhere and share your ideas without fear or favor. All right, now you can ask yourself, why does impromptu presentation matter? First of all, it helps you know how to present yourself unexpectedly. Now, I want to state that today's class is an introductory class. All right, so we're not going to be doing so much, but yes, we're going to be doing so much so that we have a soft landing and pretty much understand the tenacity of what we're about to enter. Okay, so why does impromptu presentation matter? It matters because it helps you know how to introduce yourself unexpectedly. Now, I don't want this to be about me, but I'm going to share a little backstory. So I used to work in the government. I used to work with Enugu State Government House, right? And as someone who worked in the government, I saw firsthand what impromptu presentation is. I know how it can invariably mess a professional up. And just because I have always been a communications trainer, for every time I was called upon impromptu, I already knew what to say. And it doesn't it doesn't come because you are good at communication. No, it comes because it's a skill that you have to consistently sharpen. All right. So when we were introducing ourselves in the group, I saw a couple of persons who said, oh, they want to become eloquent, they want to become, very good at communication. And I'll always say this: communication is like building a muscle. Just like when you go to the gym and you are trying to build muscles, right? It doesn't happen in one day. It comes with consistent practice. It comes with being able to do this thing to the point where you know that wherever you are called upon, you are able to deliver. And that is what this training is going to help us achieve. But before we proceed with the slides, I want to state that every learner actually has 1 month free mentorship, okay? So that you will not be in that state of mind where you're asking yourself, okay, so after these 6 days of learning, what happens, right? You have 1 month access to us, to the institute, to the academy, aside the 6 days that you have paid for, or that this training is going to last. Okay, so for the 1 month that you have access to, we're going to be having classes once a week, and these classes are scenario based classes, right? So you come to class and you are going to do these things on your feet. You're going to do it on the go, right? So that we can strengthen this muscle and help us learn how to communicate effectively. Now, why does impromptu presentation matter? With impromptu presentation, you can pitch your business or ideas confidently. I know that we particularly made our target audience for professionals because these are the persons who understand firsthand what it means to run a business. These are the persons who understand firsthand what it means to have an idea or to be in a space where your credibility is tested. In all honesty, no matter what you know, if you're not able to communicate what you know, people will start looking at you like you don't know those things. And I know that a couple of us have actually been in that situation. Before I became very good at communicating, I have also been in that situation, right? Where you are in that place where you get asked a question and you know that you know these things, but all of a sudden it's like you are struggling. And I know that many professionals still have these issues. Okay, now with impromptu presentation, you can pitch your business, you can pitch your ideas, even at work, you can sell yourself. I know that if you are being called to lead a team, you know that these persons are looking up to you, and because they are looking up to you, you cannot disappoint them, you cannot disappoint yourself. Now, I also want to state that this class might not run for 2 hours today because it's an introduction class, right? It's an introductory class, it's the onboarding, and then we're going to do a little exercise. So for this particular class, it might be running for an hour, 30 minutes or less, so that we are all on the same page. Then by next week, Tuesday, our classes will start in earnest. Now, why does impromptu speaking also matter, right? With this skill, it helps you defend your opinion with little or no preparation. Now, we live in a world where you do not know where these things will come up. Anybody can call you at any time to speak. Anybody can call you at any time, to defend what you know. With impromptu presentation, you are able to do this and many more. All right. Now, lastly, you will finally overcome your fear of speaking during interviews. Okay. I know that a lot of us might have been in that situation where 1 or 2 times where you might have been looking for a job and you were asked to sell yourself or tell them why they should hire you. You lost your line of thought, you were rambling and all of that. Impromptu presentation gives you the confidence and the ability to do these things without fear or favor. All right, so let's go over to the next slide. Now, what are the learning outcomes? We need you to take a screenshot of this so that by the end of this learning process, if you are not able to achieve these outcomes, you can hold us by the neck. Right? You can hold us by the neck, right? What we mean is after your 6 days learning and then your 1 month free trial period, right? Your 1 month free exercise and vocal building session with us, and you've not been able to achieve these outcomes at least to a desirable number, please hold us by the neck. Hold us by the neck. All right. Now, by the end of this course, you'll be able to structure your thoughts quickly, right? You'll be able to speak without freezing. You'll be able to reduce filler words. Now, what are filler words? Filler words are those words that we use to build our thoughts before we can continue. For instance, some persons will say, do you get, those are filler words. And when they become too much, it makes you look unprofessional, okay? In as much as even the best communicators use filler words sometimes, but it shouldn't dominate your presentation. The reason why people struggle with communication is that the moment they lack what to say, they start filling it in with filler words, and those things make you look very unprofessional. All right, so by the end of this training, you should be able to reduce your filler words considerably. Now, you also should be able to handle Q&A sessions confidently. You also learn how to use speaking frameworks. Okay, now this training is packed with frameworks. A lot of persons say, oh, they want to know how to stop freezing when speaking. They want to know how to, structure their thoughts without embarrassing themselves. Those things are possible when you understand communication frameworks. Okay, we're going to be teaching all of that in this training. Now, you also learn how to present your ideas clearly with little or no preparation. I know we've talked about that. So this is the learning outcome, and we are confident that you should hold us by our word. Therefore, we are saying screenshot this. Take a screenshot for every single participant of today's training. Please take a screenshot of these learning outcomes and track your own growth. Okay, know if you were able to achieve this. Okay, if you're able to see 60% progress from where you are today and where you would be after the 1 month, then we did a very good job. All right, but if you're not able to see progress and you have done your own path, because it is not enough to take a course or to start a training or to be part of a learning process. What matters is your ability to put in the work. All right, if you're able to put in the work and commit yourself to mastering this skill, and in the next 1 month you have not seen remarkable progress, please hold us by the neck. We are putting our reputation on the line for this particular one, so you can take a screenshot of this. All right, now the next thing is the course structure. Okay, now this is what the course structure looks like today, which is the first day, is foundation of impromptu presentation. What is the foundation? We're trying to lay the foundation in today's class. All right, now with this foundation, you can see that we have fear management, the foundation of speaking, and then fear management, how to properly manage fear. Okay, but we might not be able to cover that today. Your official day one starts on Tuesday. Today is an introductory / onboarding session, meaning that at the end of this whole training, you get 7 days with us. Today is day one, and it is day one in terms of introduction. All right, by by Tuesday, that is when your actual day one for the learning would start. Okay, now day two is thinking fast under pressure. We're going to be covering that in day two. By day three, we're going to be looking at speaking frameworks. Okay, I know that most of us will really enjoy this one, because you would see some of the mistakes you would be making, and then the frameworks that could have actually helped you overcome all of this. Now, by day four, we're going to be looking at delivery and presence. This is going to be a practical class, 100% practical. Today I'm doing all the talking and everyone is listening, but by day four it's going to be 100% practical. So you're going to be the one speaking, and I'm going to call persons impromptu, because we are doing impromptu presentation. So there's not going to be any form of prepare for this, you do this. No, we're going to face the things head on. All right, now day five, we're going to be handling questions and pressure moments. All right, we're going to learn how to handle questions and pressure moments. By day six, we're going to be doing our final simulation and assessment. All right, now simulations are your exams. Okay, we're going to have persons who are not on this call, who have never been in class, but they are also professionals. They're going to be participants, members of the audience, and you're going to present. Okay, now they're going to be the ones to score you, so you get your certificate by how well they score you. This is 100% practical. It's not like your every other class where the teacher is talking and you're listening. This is 100% practical. Now, I want to state that before we go to the next slide here, I want to state that the Law Academy, we emphasize on people management. What do I mean by that? Every single person here is highly respected. All right, every single person here is highly important to us. Every single person here matters to us dearly. And that being said, we mean that nobody should insult anybody or laugh at the other person. Okay, if someone is making a presentation and they make a mistake, or they stutter, or they are struggling, please, it is important that we emphasize that you do not make fun of anybody. You don't laugh at anybody. You don't jest of them and say nothing one like that. We would have to excuse the person from the training, because for us at the Law Academy, we emphasize on dignity and integrity in learning. All right, we are here to help. We are here to hold participants by the hand, and every single person here is a learner, including myself. Okay, so please, let's have this as part of our core values. We respect everyone, we respect your journey, we respect your progress. One person, even as everybody gathered today, right, to start this journey, some persons might catch up faster than the other, and you might have a better presentation. But just because the other person is struggling doesn't give any participant or any learner the right to laugh or to make jest of the person or to speak to the person in a condescending manner. Please, we are very, 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 very big on this, because learning is a gradual process, and the way you learn is not the same way another person learns. Okay, so let's have this at the back of our minds, that we have to respect one another. I do not know the persons here, the offices you occupy, and your individual placing, and so does everyone here. You do not know all the persons that are in this group. So please, let's respect one another and hold each other by the hand. Okay, if someone makes a mistake, please, all the best you can do is to offer them solution if you can do it better. Okay, and you're not doing it because you're trying to make fun of them. You're doing it because we all are team members. This is teamwork. Okay, we should emphasize that teamwork is what makes the work work. How do they say that thing? But yeah, teamwork makes the work work. All right, so with teamwork we can all achieve success together. Okay, so let's go back to our slide. All right, now, how would the class run? All right, now this is, an overview of how the class would run. First of all, we have 40 minutes teaching. So by Tuesday, we're going to start our structured learning breakdown. Okay, it is important that we state that at Law Academy we emphasize on time management. Time management is very important to us. All right, if you notice that maybe we are not keeping to time, you can call our attention to it. Please, even as the class runs, we're going to have our timekeeper. We're going to have persons who it is going to be their job to keep time. Okay, so everyone should be ready. It's going to be a very interactive session. All right, we're going to assign timekeepers, we're going to assign persons to handle different roles so that we can all have a shared experience of excellence. Okay, so we emphasize on time management a lot. Now we have 40 minutes introductory. That's our teaching. Everything that we're going to be teaching is within 40 minutes for every day. All right, now we have 30 minutes live practice. The reason why we do live practice is because communication is not a verbal skill, it is a doing skill. The more you do it, the more you get better at it. All right, now we're going to have 30 minutes individual speaking drills. Now, what does this mean? It means that we're going to be calling people impromptu. Okay, we can call anybody. That's why I need to know everyone's name. We're going to call you, we're going to give you a random topic and ask you to speak on it. Okay, now by the time we do this, you will start seeing how very practical this thing is. Please give me 1 minute. All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now, by the time we do all of this, we can see how, very, very intense learning a skill is. Not just teaching, like verbal teaching, doing it, learning by doing. Okay, now we're going to have feedback sessions. Now, what is our feedback session is not done by me. It is peer-to-peer feedback. So you are going to be teachers and learners at the same time. What does this mean? When a person is called to make a presentation, and when they are done, you are going to be the one to score them. I can call, for instance, I can say, Ademola, please score Rosemary for the presentation she just made. So your peer is going to be your teacher, right? We believe that with peer-to-peer learning, with live feedback, you would be able to not internalize the feedback. Now, I want to say something very quickly about feedback, right? No feedback is directed to hurt your personality, right? That is why constructive criticism is very important. I cannot overemphasize the value and the importance of constructive criticism. If at all you want to share your idea, or you want to, give someone a score based on what they just did, there is no need insulting their personality. All you need to do is to give constructive criticism. Now, before you're called upon to score someone, I'm going to give us the structure of the criticism, right? In as much as everyone is allowed to express themselves the way they want to express themselves, but there has to be a structure, okay? There has to be a structure in doing it so that we are all guided. We are people of excellence, and we believe so much in respecting one another and, upholding each other in the highest forms of dignity and integrity, okay? Now, we have 20 minutes feedback session, and we have 5 minutes for assignments. So when we send our assignments to the group, right, That's when the class officially starts on Tuesday, when we send our assignments to the group, right? We will also read it out here so that if you have questions, if you don't understand the assignment, you can ask questions before the class ends, okay? So that we don't drop the question, and then maybe we don't drop the question on the WhatsApp group and you are asking questions on WhatsApp and you're sending too many questions that would make people keep thinking that something serious is happening on the group. Meanwhile, it's just questions concerning the assignment. So we're going to take those questions during the live call. Okay, so as we are live like this, if you have any questions, once we put up the assignment and you have any questions, you could always ask your questions here and everyone would learn and know how to do it better. Okay, now what is the next thing we're going to be doing? What are the class expectations? Now, learners are expected to respect others and give constructive feedback. I've already said this. You are expected to attend classes on time. Now, if you do not attend classes, please don't expect your certificate. By the way, we have to state that this class is certified, but there's a different slide for that, okay? When you attend classes, please attend on time. Don't come late to class. We're always looking at time, right? Because part of what makes you a professional per excellence is the ability to keep to time. All right, attend classes on time. Turn on your camera where possible. All right, especially when we're going to be doing our presentation, we need to see your body language, we need to see your facial expression, we need to see how you are able to carry the audience along. Okay, so we need you to turn on your camera where possible and when necessary. Now, you also need to participate actively. Okay, in as much as we do not encourage spamming the group, we also know that active participation makes us better at whatever it is we're trying to improve. And then when in class, like when the class starts and you're called upon to make a presentation or make a comment, okay, if you are in a noisy place and you cannot speak, please use the chat and let us know that you are in a noisy place, that you cannot speak at the moment. All right, now if also you probably you want to say something and we cannot hear you, please always confirm that we can hear you so that we're not stressing you and we're not stressing other learners. All right, we believe so much in decorum. Okay, thank you very much. Now, please complete your assignments. Very important. All right, if you do not complete your if we give 5 assignments in this class and you do 2, you will not get your certificate. You have to complete your assignments before we give you your certificate. It is that important to us because we genuinely believe that we all are ambassadors of the Law Academy, and by that we mean that if you tell someone, oh, I took a communication training with the Law Academy, it should show. All right, so that it doesn't look like after I finish paying these people money, I did not even learn anything. I did not even do it. They did not even teach me anything. Right, we are doing our best and we're always going to do our best to make sure that you have an excellent learning experience. All right, so once you complete your assignments and you participate in the classes, you're definitely going to earn your certificate. Now, what are the community guides, right? What's our guideline? Please remember, no mocking or ridicule. I've already said this. Everyone is learning, so we have to respect each other. Mistakes are part of the growth. If someone stutters, if someone has an accent, what do I mean by accent? Or maybe someone has like an Igbo accent, for instance, don't laugh. If people have like the H factor, they want to say oil, they say oil and stuff like that. You are not expected to laugh at anybody. You are not expected to treat anyone like they do not know what they are doing. We all are learners and we are all growing together. All right, so always have it in mind that mistakes are part of the learning process. Now, encourage one another. It is teamwork. All right, we might not be splitting you in groups and doing group practice, but we know that every single person here is holding the other person. Okay, you are seeing each other as your team member. Even after the class is over, you can have an accountability partner. We really stress on the importance of having an accountability partner, someone that you can practice with, someone that you can learn with. Why do we emphasize this? Because we know that learning gets better with people when you have persons who have shared goal. Okay, when we looked at the chart and the reasons why people joined, everyone is here for a common goal, to get better at this skill. So we must hold each other together. Okay, if a team member did not come to class, you can reach out to the person. You can do that in the group, or you can reach out to them personally. If you want to connect, we also emphasize on the importance of networking. Okay, we're not saying, oh, don't network, but please network responsibly. Okay, network with a shared intention for professional excellence. Don't network to don't network for a negative intention, all right, so that we do not get held responsible for anything that is off the scope of what we represent at the Law Academy. Now, practice consistently. After the class, you are expected to practice. Okay, whatever we teach, spend like 1 hour with that teaching for the day, and practice. Just practice. Ask yourself questions, ask people in your house, use your family members. Now, let me tell us a little story. Yeah, when I was getting better at communicating and public speaking, I turned every single person in my house to my audience. Very funny thing. I will come to my parents and say, Daddy, please, I'm learning this thing. What do you think? This is what I was able to learn today. I want you to ask me questions. I want to practice this thing with you. Now, I will give them questions and they'll ask me. And then my parents, knowing that I'm someone that is very big on learning, they will now devise their own questions and ask me. And when I answer it, they will still give me my own score. They will score you, Sometimes they will say, oh, you did well, but I think you should work on this. I think you should get better at this. I think you should control your speed. I think you should, these things help you, get better. Feedback is the ultimate reminder that there is more work to be done. When a person gives you feedback from a place of love, it reminds you that there is more work to be done. All right, so use your family members to practice. Use the persons you meet on the call to practice. Use the persons you meet here at the Law Academy to practice. You can also practice with me, okay, but this is like on Saturdays when we have our live calls. That's after the training is over. Okay, now, how to earn your certificate. All right, I know I talked about our certificate. Now, what are the rules, or what is the requirement for you to be able to earn your certificate? Now, you need to attend at least 5 out of 6 classes. Yes, you have to attend 5 out of 6 classes. You can only miss one class, and you have to watch the recording and do the assignment of that class. So there's a clause to it. Now, if we have 5 classes and you are absent out of the if we have 5 classes and you are absent for 5 classes, please do not bother asking us for your certificate, because we're definitely taking attendance. Okay, we're going to take attendance from the live chat. We can see the persons who were in class. We can see every single thing about the persons that were in class and the persons who are not in class. So if you miss day 1, just know that you're already scoring yourself, so that you not say, oh, the Law Academy did not give me my certificate after I finished paying money. Please, it's not about the money. We are here to help and ensure that you achieve good success. Okay, we're here to ensure that you achieve good success. That is our ultimate goal. Right now, you have to complete your assignment. So we have 5 teaching classes. All right, now this is going to start on Tuesday. We have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for week 1. Now, by the upper week, we'll also have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. This in total makes it 6 classes. So I told us that the total package we have is 7 classes, which is day 1 onboarding, and then 5 learning classes. Okay, 6 learning classes. So we have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. This is when our classes will hold. So every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, we will have classes for week 1 and week 2. Now, you need to complete your assignments. You need to participate in final presentation simulation, because the persons who are going to be scoring you are not persons who are attending your class. They are people who have never heard you speak. They are not on the group. They are not your class, your team member or your learning cohort. They're not in this cohort. They are total strangers who are also professionals. I said this when it started, but let me reiterate it for the persons who might have not been on the call when I said it. You're going to write exam, and your exam is 100% practical. We don't have any written exam. You're not writing anything for us. We're going to give you time. There's going to be a timekeeper, someone who is going to take time, like they have clock, and they'll be timing you. Okay, now it might be your class might be 10 minutes. All right, your exam might be for 10 minutes. Make a presentation on this topic, and the topic is not going to be a topic that will tell you a day before. Now, it is important for us to not tell you the topic, because this is impromptu presentation, meaning that after everything that we have taught you, we believe that you should be able to master the act of thinking on your feet, right? So I need to learn what to expect, just in case your heart is beating small. It has not started beating, no. It has not started beating, because this is the depth of experience we want you to have, so that when you go outside, you can beat your chest to say that, oh, you have been able to go from point A to point B with this skill. You have been able to achieve this success with the Law Academy. All right, so for your exam, we're going to be bringing persons who are not in your class, they are going to listen to you talk. They are going to watch you on camera, all right, your body language, how you present yourself, how your general composure, and they are going to give you a score. Now, the exam is over 50, right? Then your assignments, attendance, and everything else that we do in the next 6 days is over 50, all right? So we have 50% exam and 50% attendance. Now you need to score up to 70% to be able to graduate. Yes, you need to score up to 70% to be able to graduate. So wherever you want to get, how you want to patch the 70% is not on us. Okay, if you want to do, oh, I need to have 35% from my test, my assignments, fine. If you want to do, okay, 35% from your exams, it's up to you. If you say, okay, I want to do my exams 100, but you know, definitely you do know that there is no examiner that ever gives somebody 50 over 50. They would always take 1 mark or 2 marks as their own. It has been like that, and we're not going to change it. I'm not going to change it. In university, they used to take 1 or 2 marks from you, right? That's the examiner's mark. So you have to expect the same thing. But that's like on a lighter note, all right? We're just saying this to, soften the air. If you deserve 50 over 50, why not? We're going to give you 50 over 50, all right? What we do believe is that you put in the work and you become better at this skill. So if they listen to you and they feel like you deserve 50 over 50, I do not have any influence over their score. They're going to be scoring you independently based on your presentation and your ability to make sense out of the topic that was given to you to speak impromptu on. All right. Now, what else are we supposed to talk about? Right. So you have to participate in your final presentation. Okay, now what is the next slide? Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are ready to master impromptu speaking, I need to reassure you that over the next 6 days, you will build the confidence and systems needed to speak clearly, even when you are unprepared. All right, now this is a soft onboarding. This is like welcome to the Law Academy. This is a mini introduction into all that we represent and what you need to expect, because we didn't need to put all of this information on the group because we don't believe in spamming the group. Okay, we don't believe in boring people with too much information. What we believe is that every learning experience has its own process, and after your introduction on WhatsApp, now we're going to do a live introduction. Okay, we're going to do a live introduction, but before we go into that, I still have one more slide to share. Okay, this is a mini introduction into what we have in stock for you. Okay, please, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to share the next slide, the next screen. This is the onboarding is over and I need to share the next screen. All right. Just a minute. All right. Please, can someone confirm if they can see the slide? Please confirm if you can see the slide that I just shared. If you can see the slide, kindly confirm in the chat. Please help me confirm that you can see the slide that I just shared before we continue. I'm looking at the chart to be sure that we can see the slide before we comment. Okay. Okay, all right. I've gotten a feedback that you can. All right, thank you so very much, and you're welcome. Thank you very much for that feedback. Okay, so let's look at it now. Impromptu presentation mastery for professionals, and the subheading is think and speak on the spot. Now, when we hear impromptu presentation, I know that a couple of us have experienced it firsthand. Some persons might have had a good experience or a bad experience, but it was an experience, all right? And one thing I do know about experiences is experience is the best teacher. I do understand that when you saw the course flyer, probably a few persons remembered a time in their professional journey where, this skill actually embarrassed them or gave them a promotion. Okay, now I'll share a little story with us, and I know that all of us also have our own stories to share. Now, when the class started, I talked about working in the government. I used to work in the government until I resigned this year to build this brand, the Law Academy. Okay, and I'll tell us for free that Impromptu presentation is the heart of every professional's journey. In fact, it sits at the core of whatever it is you do as a professional. It is an intersection between what you know and how ready you are to communicate what you know. Okay. Now, sometimes when we hear impromptu presentation, a lot of people lose their line of thought. A lot of people get scared. A lot of people start fidgeting because the first thing that happens in your head is, I don't want to embarrass myself. God, is this how my village people will come and take over? Is this how my village uncle will disgrace me? Okay. But I want you to understand something, that impromptu presentation is really enjoyable. Now, let me share my story. So, I used to work with the SSA to the governor, and one time we went for an event. All of a sudden, we were at the event, and I was put in charge as the programs coordinator for the youth department. I was put in charge for organizing the program, putting everything in check, the guests, the dignitaries that were coming, and all of that. And in between the event, they just said, we are going to be calling on youths to come and share their opinion. They are going to be documenting this opinion for His Excellency. It is going to be sent to His Excellency. And because I was someone who was put in charge of programs, I was coordinating the program, I didn't have any need to stress myself. I was just going about ensuring that dignitaries were well taken care of, and every other thing that needed to be done was done, until they said, oh, our boss is calling you. I'm like, okay, maybe she wanted to ask me, how is it going? How is everything going? And then she said, she just wrote something on paper and gave it to me. And when I looked at it, she said, get ready. We are speaking in the next 2 minutes. To be honest with you, I've never felt that amount of excitement mixed with fear. All right, because I need us to understand that these things are very normal. Okay, I've never had that amount of excitement mixed with fear. Excitement because it was a big platform. All right, it was VNR, Voluntary National Review. Right, I remember that event very clearly. It was Voluntary National Review, and they were reviewing sustainable development in Enugu State, because I'm currently in Enugu State. All right, so they were reviewing sustainable development in Enugu State across all sectors. Now, it was being aired on AIT, NTA, and every single Nigerian-based network news. That's one. It was being documented for His Excellency. Now, imagine that kind of thing that nobody told you, oh, this is what is going to happen. Okay, you were called immediately and you were put on the spot. My head first and went blank and came back again. But there's something I always do when I'm in that kind of situation. It is the ability to breathe, right? These are some of the techniques we're going to be learning. But when it was eventually time for me to speak and I got on stage, the first thing I did was to give everybody a big smile, and everybody was at ease. So sometimes you do not understand that little things you do actually tell the audience if you are confident or not. One thing you need to understand about impromptu presentation or presentations in general is that it can be happening inside you, but it should not come out, right? Now, your ability to manage it internally is what makes you an excellent professional, okay? Right at that stage where I was smiling in front of over 200 and something persons who were dignitaries at the highest level of their professional careers, right, was a young girl who didn't expect to be called in the middle of an event that she had no business speaking at. This was a huge turning point in my career, because after that event, my boss called me and she said, I've reviewed your work over a couple of months, and we're going to be stepping you to another position, right? And the position I was stepped to was to interface with dignitaries, talking with dignitaries almost every day. All right. Now, this is the power of impromptu presentation, and this is the power of communication as a skill. Now, when after that interaction with my boss, I sat down and I asked myself, what if I messed up? What if I messed up? I mean, this opportunity could come to me because I knew what I was saying. I knew how to deliver. I understood what was required of me, and I didn't overtalk. I just did what I needed to do. Now, I asked myself, what if I had messed up? What if I messed up this thing? Would I be considered for this opportunity, right? So we need to understand that impromptu presentation and presentations and communication in general is a life-changing skill. Okay, it can literally take you from 0 to 100. Now, after I resigned in January, I had to resign because I'm someone that is very passionate about certain things, and one of it is building Dilo Academy, this brand. All right, when I resigned in January, my boss had her birthday and she invited me for her birthday, and I came as a normal guest. Okay, I was at the event as a guest, enjoying white wine with food and excellent people everywhere, celebrating someone who has actually achieved a certain milestone. And just in the middle of the birthday, now I need you to, I'm actually emphasizing on different events so that you can see that impromptu presentation can happen anywhere. Now, right in the middle of the birthday, I saw my boss's call. When I came for the event, I went to greet her, right? So I went to greet her, oh, happy birthday, ma, because she's my boss and we're on good terms, okay? This woman now, so it's not as if I did not greet her. Okay, so when I saw her call enter my phone, I had to ask myself, oh, why is she calling me? But because they were playing music everywhere, was noisy and stuff like that, I had to walk up to her. I went to her seat and I met her and I was like, oh, ma, I saw your call. She was like, yes, I was supposed to unveil my foundation, but I'm supposed to make a speech before the foundation unveiling. And I told the MC I'm the one making the speech, and he said no, that I have to call someone to make the speech. Please, in the next 2 minutes, can you get ready and make a speech about my foundation? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to explain this particular experience to us for it to actually sink, right? But this is a foundation that I have never discussed with her. That is to tell you what impromptu presentation really looks like. We have never had a conversation about her foundation. So it's not as if maybe, I was part of the planning process. I was in the foundation. She told me she wanted to. No, I had already resigned. We're not communicating every day in terms of, okay, ma, I've done this, kindly review and all of that. I was already building my brand independently, and she is still working with the governor, His Excellency, right? So when she said I was going to make a speech about her foundation, in 2 minutes, and the funny part is, if she had told me 20 minutes before the time, okay, I could have been at home, I could have made some research, but this was 2 minutes to the presentation, and all she did was send a logo. She sent me the logo of her company, that's the foundation, and she said, just use your initiative and talk about the foundation, okay? Just say something, this is what we do and this is what we represent. And I went to go and ask the MC, because as part of being excellent at communicating, you have to know the amount of time that is allocated to you to make your presentation. So I had to ask the MC, how many minutes do I have? He said 6 to 7 minutes, but max 10 minutes. I was like, how am I going to make a presentation for 10 minutes for a foundation that I am not part of? If I was called to make a presentation representing the office, I was part of the structure, I was part of the office, so I could say something. And this thing I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, happened this year, March 17th, 2026. So it's not something that happened like, some decades ago. It happened this year. We're just in May. Okay, that's to tell you that this thing is part of our everyday life. Now, I was asking myself, how am I going to make a presentation in the next 2 minutes for 10 minutes for a business I'm not part of? Now, this is not a corporate sector. This is a business. Our foundations are people's businesses, okay? Immediately, I just thought of one of the frameworks I'll be teaching us in this course. And by internalizing that framework, I already knew what to say. I already knew how to go about the presentation, okay? Now, I want to tell us, ladies and gentlemen, that after that presentation, someone, people were just congratulating me. Oh, well done, that was nice. When I was speaking, people were already, shaking their heads. That when when you're talking rubbish, people will be looking at you with straight face, like, who is this person, right? But the moment you are saying something that makes sense, people they're reciprocating, they're nodding, they're showing that, okay, this person actually makes some sense. So after the whole presentation, I greeted everyone and I thanked them for their time, and we did the unveiling of the foundation and all of that, right? As I was going to my seat, people were just shaking me left, right, and center. I'm like, oh, maybe they seen a fine girl, because I mean, I don't know how to put these experiences for us, but they were career defining experiences for me. Okay. Now, when I went to sit down, the person that was sitting down beside me was like, that was a beautiful presentation. I was like, oh, thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate. Fast forward to like a couple of days later, I went to the event with my sister, and someone took her number and they got talking. And the person was like, the person that made that presentation, that she looks like you. So my sister was, yes, she's my elder sister. She was like, oh, can I get her number, please? And I was on my own. My sister just texted me that, oh, somebody's requesting for your number from the event. I was like, go ahead, give the person my number. When I spoke to the person, this person has a real estate company, all right? And they have been looking for someone who would act as their overall realtor, right? You know that people that have companies there, they have persons that work in different branches. Now they now need somebody that will be their overall realtor and their overall salesperson, the person who is in charge of making professional videos and professional marketing videos for the company. I never imagined this opportunity, but after we had our first meeting and we got talking, and person shared the breakdown of the remuneration, the allowances, and everything that comes with that particular role, I was reminded again that communication is a life defining skill. All right. Now, I've picked out a corporate event, which was the VNR, the Voluntary National Review for the government. I've also picked out a birthday, right? I'm going to pick out the last one. Now, today is soft landing. We're not doing anything heavy. I'm just giving us a mental reshift, okay? Just in case you probably signed up for the course just to see how it goes. Please, I want to beg every one of us respectfully to take this thing seriously, right? I'm a young girl. I mean, you can see I'm a young girl, but I can tell us for free that communication has changed my life. The ability to communicate has made all the difference for me as a professional. Okay, now the last event that I would share with us is my boss wrote a book, and she wanted to launch the book in relation to the whole SDG day, celebrating SDGs, all right, because I used to work on that sustainable development goals. Okay, so I'm not really going to talk about the SDGs because that's not why we are here. But for the persons who do not know, the SDGs are a set of 17 goals that was created by the United States government to ensure that development is a global thing. All right, so the set of 17 goals were milestones that were put in place to ensure that every single sector in the society experiences development. Now you have, no poverty, good health and well-being. We have the SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. We have SDG 17, which is partnership for the growth, for the goals and all of that, right? Now, she wrote a book and she wanted to celebrate and unveil the book on the day of SDG, right? The SDG day. Okay, and she had her team members who are going to be in charge of speaking. No, now in this event, right, she had SSAs, SAs, people that were the who and who's in the government. All right, these are the persons who were supposed to be panelists on the event. And then she also had her colleague who is also an SSA. Okay, he was the one that's supposed to handle the panel session, which is like where we are going to be asking persons questions as regards the SDGs and the success that has been achieved in each sector. So we had the persons who were SSA on health, we had SSA on transportation, we had SA on education, you get. So individuals who are professionals in different, aspects of the SDGs, but are also with the government. Now the panel session was supposed to be a discussion with these persons, and will I say fortunately or unfortunately, the person who was supposed to handle the panel session, who is also an SSA, right, had an emergency that day. When I mean emergency, like an emergency that he couldn't avoid that day. And it didn't just happen that he had an emergency. It happened that the emergency came, I think, about 20 minutes before the event. But the funny part, ladies and gentlemen, is that My boss never told me that, oh, her colleague had an emergency. He said if he can attend to the emergency, he will come back before the panel session, right? As usual, I was in charge of food. I was in charge of handling food and drinks for dignitaries and the persons who were coming for the event, right? Now, during the course of the event, one of my colleagues called me and was like, oh, our boss is calling you. And so I had to go and meet my boss as usual. In my whole, trying to make sure that it's not just because, oh, she's not calling me so that to ask me if there's a problem. She still wrote on paper, please, you will handle the panel session. Ladies and gentlemen, I think at that instance, yeah, I was now starting to feel like my boss actually enjoyed putting me on the spot. And I now had to start thinking about it in that light. Like, someone just enjoys putting you under tension. If there's anything like that, because literally, it was not looking like she was after my life. Yes, at some point I was asking myself, this woman is really after my life. But one thing I've learned about working with people and people that trust you is when a person knows you can deliver, they will put you on the spot. So as a professional, one of the things I would always say is make sure that you can deliver. All right, now back to my story. Now, it was time for the panel session, and I saw the paper. She was like, you handle the panel session just after the violinist. You're going to be the one to handle the panel session. I have never been in their panel discussion. I have never seen the topic. And it's so funny because thinking about it now, sometimes you ask yourself, what is it about life that actually tests what you know? Life will test what you know. It will. Life will really test what you know. Okay. Now, I didn't even know that the secretary to the state governor, that's the SSG, was part of the persons who were supposed to be in that event for that day. Okay. Now, 5 minutes before the panel session, they now said, oh, announcement was made. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stand up. Let's welcome, the SSG to the state governor and all of that. He came with his entourage. The event became tensed. People were now more serious. You know how you know how people can immediately become serious when certain dignitaries are in a place. All right, everybody became serious. The atmosphere was tensed. For an atmosphere that was light and easy, everywhere became very tensed. And now, when the violinist finished, the MC came up and he was like, okay, we're going to enter the panel session and we'll be calling persons for the panel discussion. This is a topic that I wasn't familiar with. This is a topic that is not within my scope. There's something called that this thing is within your scope. All right. The persons I was interfacing with are persons who are not within my scope. They are far above me. I'm talking about SSAs and SAs, right? Now, I was supposed to be the one to ask them questions. The only thing my boss did was to send me the questions on WhatsApp. She just said, these are the list of questions. I trust you. Simple. You know, when someone now uses the word, I trust you, it is that they are now putting your own credibility in check. There are certain things people should not say to you so that you can manage your anxiety. But when they now use certain heavy words, it will now make you want to prove that you can do this thing. But I think one thing about presentations and impromptu speaking is it's never about proving a point. It's just being yourself. All right. Now, when the whole thing started, I was to anchor everything, which is introduce the guests, get into the event, right? Which is the whole panel session. We started the panel session and I had to ask people questions, ask this person questions. When I now looked at the questions she sent to me, the questions were incomplete. Yes, they were not complete. Now, imagine that they are giving you questions and the question just, when high-level professionals are communicating, they expect you to use your head, okay? Immediately, right in that event, I had to manufacture a way to complete the questions that people will not notice, okay? After the event, after the whole panel session, people were, that was one of the most interactive panel sessions I've ever had because I was asking people questions, not minding their position. I mean, respectfully, right? I wasn't being insultive or derogatory, never. It has never been in my person. Rather, I was asking them questions based on, some questions were two-part questions. Some people would answer one and leave the other one. I will now bring them back to it. I'm like, sorry, sir, if I could remember, I asked two questions and you've only attended to one, they will now come back and say, oh, sorry, my dear. They will now start again and start responding to it. Okay. Now, with the atmosphere that was created and how, God helped me to carry the presentation. When the presentation was over, my boss wanted to see that escort, the secretary to the state governor out of the event, because they don't stay for most of these things. They just come and they leave. All right. Now, when he was about leaving, she asked me to follow her. So I followed her to the car because she wanted me to take pictures of her. I work in the media. I do media as well. Okay. So I had to take like pictures and videos of her and the secretary to the state governor, right? Now, when I was taking the videos, out of nowhere, he just said, young lady, you're the one that handled the panel session, right? I was like, yes, sir. Good afternoon, Your Excellency. And he was like, afternoon. He now turned to my boss and he said, can I borrow this stuff? And she just smiled and she didn't say anything. In my head, I'm like, that smile is, why would you come and be borrowing? And he asked, can I borrow this your stuff? And she smiled again and says, sir, you are in charge of all of us. And that was like emotional intelligence, which is part of soft skills. You learn emotional intelligence, right? When I didn't expect her to say no or say yes, but she just said what she needed to say and it was very smart. She was like, oh, sir, you are in charge of all of us now. And he was like, yes, I want to borrow this your staff. There's a position I would actually want her to fill for us, right? But she can do it remotely. Now, this is the secretary to the state governor. This is someone that people hardly see. Okay, this is someone that if you are looking for a job, that you need a job and you are applying to that office, you have to pass through levels of interviews. You might not even end up seeing him. Okay, just by an event. This was an opportunity, and unfortunately, the area that they wanted a staff for, it wasn't my core strength, right? I don't do anything that is outside my core. Okay, they wanted someone who was very heavy in ICT, right? ICT, but now you're going to be teaching persons this ICT, yeah. But when he now asked, oh, my credentials, what I'd done, what I studied, and he mentioned the position, I had to respectfully, tell him that, oh, it is not within my area of competence. And he was like, that was an excellent presentation. That was really excellent. The way you handled it was brilliant. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is my third story as to why presentation and communication is a life-defining skill. Sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, so what if I actually had this technical skill? What if I actually had this skill? What is the opportunity that could have easily presented itself to me? And I need to state that I studied theater arts in university, okay? So that it doesn't look like I did one serious course. For persons who know who know in the professional cadre how that people see certain professions, engineering, doctors, lawyers, as the cream de la cream of the professional cadre, I studied a course that is at the base of everything that has to do with being a professional. I studied theater arts for 4 years, right? But I specialized in writing. I did writing major. Now, for a course as minute and as easily neglected as theater arts, what is the one thing that has actually propelled my growth as a young girl so speedily that sometimes I look at myself and I say, God is good? It is communication. It is the ability to speak. Now, if these instances where go and think about it, or they gave you days to prepare, you can say that, okay, you can practice, create a script, and you know what to do. But when you are put on the spot, that is where everything that makes you a professional is tested. Nobody ever asked for my degree. At no instance in these 3 occasions that I've shared with us was my degree ever required. Nobody asked what you studied. Nobody asked your certificate. Can I see your certificate, your resume, your cover letter? And all of those things come with 3 referrals. It was meeting persons who were decision makers, and you are not chasing them. You are not begging them. These jobs can easily be advertised online, right? And people would beg and cry to be able to take any of these roles, and they will still tell them that there is no chance. But these individuals were willing to hire on the spot simply by knowing how to communicate and present. Okay, now this has brought us, this is a little soft landing for us, so that we don't look at it like this thing I'm just using to pass time. Communication and presentation skills are not skills they use to pass time. They are skills that can change a person's life. I'm a living witness. Okay, I'm a serious living witness as to what communication can do. All right, now let's go back to our slide. Okay, impromptu presentation mastery for professionals, and the subtitle is think and speak on the spot. Now when you hear think and speak, it is not like, oh, you are just thinking and you start speaking. It is, what are they asking me, and how can I reset my brain to produce something meaningful in a very short time? That is what impromptu presentation is. And that is what I have done, ladies and gentlemen, in all of these three instances, to be able to redeem myself from embarrassment. It is that I'll first and ask myself, what are they asking me? And what do I need to do? Okay, now most times people make the mistake of trying to impress people by adding too many things to their thought process, that it frustrates them. When it comes to impromptu presentation, the first thing that helps you overcome whatever you are going through is the ability to think. All right, now when it comes to thinking is a life skill. And why I said that is, the moment you are able to think of what you are being asked and rewire your brain to produce information, or all the information you know about that topic, you are already 50% halfway in perfecting or making a presentation that is worthwhile. All right, now that is why the subheading is think and speak on the spot, because the reason why it's called on the spot is that the preparation time is very short. Okay, if they give you 1 day notice, 2 days notice, it is no longer on the spot. On the spot is that at the heat of the moment, your integrity is tested. Now people can say that, oh, that the caption of this course is for professionals, so the first thing that comes to your head is, okay, it's only during my work environment, that is when this thing is needed. But from my stories, ladies and gentlemen, and how that in these three experiences I've actually been able to move from point A to point B, you can see that the events, right? These events were not formal events per se. Okay, the first two were formal, but for a birthday party, it is the most informal way, or the most informal setting ever, for you to expect such an opportunity to be lying down and looking at us. And that is why I like to say opportunity meets preparedness. If you are prepared for something, the moment it presents itself, you can easily make use of it. All right, now just imagine that you were called upon to speak, and immediately the first thing you need to do is to think. Let's say, for instance, they ask you, what is impromptu presentation? Leave presentation and every other jargon, focus on the main topic. Impromptu, what is the main topic what is the main topic that is being asked? Impromptu presentation. Okay, so the main topic is impromptu presentation. That is the topic. So by the time you are able to identify the topic, right, you can now ask yourself, what do I know about this topic? This is a hack that has this is a hack that can recalibrate your thought process in seconds. Just ask yourself, what do I know about this topic? Let's say, for instance, they call you and they say, okay, can you give us a report about your department? Don't try to jam all the things in your head at once. Ask yourself, what is the question? The question is, can you give me a report about your department? So what they want is a report, and a report of what? My department. All right, so the first thing is knowing the context as to which you are being asked a question. The context is a report. Now, what is a report? A breakdown of what we have been able to do. All right, now what am I reporting on my department? So you ask yourself, am I not a part of this department? You are. Am I not the team lead of this department? You are. Am I not the one that controls other people or gives them directives? I am. So why should I be scared? All right, I know that somebody asked in the group that, oh, they start fidgeting and they start getting nervous. I always say something. The moment you see every speaking engagement as your ability to share value, your mindset changes, your nerves start reacting differently. It's just like telling yourself that you are doing these people a favor. That is one thing I always tell myself, and it has worked for me. All right. When I'm called to speak impromptu and I'm given a topic, the first thing I tell myself is, oh, I'm here to give these people a favor. I'm here to do a favor with whatever I have to say. You might think this thing is a joke until you start practicing it, probably in your life practice in the class, right? The moment you tell yourself, I'm here to do these people a favor, you will see your own body react differently. Your body will immediately get calm, because when you are doing someone a favor, you are on the advantaged position. A lot of people get scared when it comes to impromptu presentation because you feel like you are at a disadvantaged position. No, you're not. You're not at a disadvantaged position. In fact, as someone who is speaking at any event, in any scenario, you are at an advantaged position. That is the mindset that changes your brain's chemical reaction. That is the mindset that keeps you in control. Now, imagine, let me give you a typical instance. Imagine that somebody comes to ask you for money, and and the person now, you now ask the person, okay, tell me why I should give you this money. And the person tells you why they should give you the money. And you now start breaking down why you feel like this person who is asking you for this money did not give you reason enough. The reason why you can do that from a relaxed point of view is because you are at an advantaged position. You are the one that has the money, right? You're the one that has what they are looking for. Now, I want us to start seeing impromptu presentation like that. Today, we're not going to be talking about frameworks, no. We're having a discussion as professionals, and I'm trying to make sure that I help us understand how easy this thing is. The moment you are able to speak to your mind, one of the greatest blessings and the greatest hierarchy of being a human being is the ability to speak to your mind. You can actually tell your mind what to do and it will obey you. All right. So when you tell your mind that I'm here to do these people a favor, your mind will immediately respond different. It has happened to me in several occasions that I had to I had to, extract that particular thought process and keep it as the creme de la creme of my existence when it comes to communication and presentation. That at every instance where I'm called upon to make a presentation, the first thing that comes to my mind is I'm here to do these people a favor, right? I want us to practice it. We are going to practice it. We're going to practice it now. This is impromptu presentation, and it is think and speak on the spot. All right, now let's move to the next slide. All right, this is like a brief welcome to Impromptu Presentation Mastery. This is a transformational 6-day learning experience designed to help you confidently speak in unplanned situations. All right, now over the next 6 days, you will learn how to think quickly under pressure, organize your thoughts clearly, reduce nervousness, answer questions confidently, and present without over preparing. Now, the reason I had to read through this slide is because we had actually talked about something like this during the onboarding, so there's no need dwelling on this. All right, now today is day one, and it is day one in terms of onboarding. This is the actual day one you would see on Tuesday. Okay, so forgive us if this particular slide is repeating, because that is the real welcome to day one. But before we get into definitions and all, I want us to do a little practice. Okay, so I can see a couple of persons who are already in the call or who have been in the call. Okay, so I want us to do something. I think that's what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes. This call is supposed to end at 9 p.m. but we should be looking at 8:45. Okay, I've been the one speaking since 7 p.m. till after 8, and I feel like I need to hear our voices. I need to hear our voices. All right, so let's do something very quickly. Now, I'm not going to read through this because we're going to still meet it on Tuesday. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, we're going to do a scenario role play. Yeah. I really need to know if all these things I've been saying since since almost 20 minutes or 30 minutes of sharing my personal experience, if we're already practicing it. Now, this life scenario or this scenario is called why should we hire you? All right, now all learners will tell us why we should hire them in 3 minutes. Okay, so for the next 3 minutes, I'm going to call anyone randomly to tell us why we should hire them. All right, So let me say, for instance, Law Academy is hiring for what role now? We don't have we don't have any vacancies at the moment, but I'm going to create something so that we can actually hear our voices. We need to start experiencing these things. All right. So let's just say we're hiring for the role of country coordinator. Yeah, because I know that we have persons at the highest levels of their professional careers here. So I wouldn't want to start saying we're hiring for the role of intern. We're not doing any interning. We're looking at country coordinator. All right. So let me paint this scenario for us. The Law Academy is hiring for the role of country coordinator, and um, everyone here has submitted their CVs to us, and we're now on the interview. All right, this is a live interview. Sorry, forgive me, I laugh a lot because I do believe that teaching and learning should be a fun experience. So in as much as you might not unmute your mic to laugh with me, but if the situation calls for laughing, please laugh and ease every tension. We're here to have fun as we learn. All right, so back to our scenario role play. Okay, I'm going to call someone randomly. You're going to tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy in 3 minutes. Okay, so if I call anyone, please unmute yourself, tell us your name, all right, and go straight into it. We're going to have like a formal introduction where we'll get to know ourselves by our names, but for this particular role play, let's just have fun together. Then we're going to give each other feedback, right? Someone is going to I'll call anybody randomly to also give feedback on the person's presentation. Okay, but everyone is going to talk. So 3 minutes, I'm going to have my timer. All right, I'm looking at my time, and in 3 minutes, you tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy. All right, let me do tumbom tumbom baskelele. Let me do tumbom tumbom. Who will I pick now? Okay, and I don't know, my eye is looking at Anne, no, but good evening, Anne Annie Kanbasi. I'm so sorry, please. I try as much as possible not to mutilate people's surnames, so I rather call the one I know, but I know that you know I'm speaking to you. So please, Anne, I'm going to add you on stage, and in 3 minutes, you will tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy. Please unmute yourself. If you cannot use your camera today, that's very okay, because I do believe that certain persons are not so good with camera, and it's okay. And if you are in a place where you don't have light or you don't feel comfortable turning on your camera, that's fine for today. All right, so please unmute yourself and tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy. 3, 2, 1, action. Thank you. Sorry, is it just me? But I can't hear you. And are you on the call?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, good evening. Yes, okay, I can hear you now.
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello? Oh my, I can't hear
And
myself.
no, I can hear you.
I can't hear
Can
myself.
anybody confirm if they can hear her?
Hello?
Okay, I've seen your chat that you can't hear yourself. Please, I know that you're saying hello. Can someone confirm if they can
Hello,
hear
can you
her?
hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
What's happening? I can't. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh my
And
God.
check the chat. I
Hello,
can't hear
hello,
you.
hello.
Okay, fine. Maybe we can't hear you for time, yeah? We're going to call someone else, but please get ready. You are still going to speak. Just try and work on whatever it is. Are you speaking? Sorry, I cannot hear what you are you speaking, Anne?
Even without the earpiece, I can't. Hello, can you
But
hear
can you
me? Oh
hear
my God.
I can hear you, but can you hear me? Okay, don't worry, don't worry. Just mute
Oh,
yourself.
sorry.
What's the problem?
Okay, okay. Um, Thank you very much. Why should you hire me? I think I'm the best fit for this position because I'm disciplined, I'm a go-getter, and I'm committed to whatever task I have. Now, with having a background in events planning, I'm good with time management, and I'm a good team player. So putting that in place, I'm ready to contribute my quota to ensure excellent service delivery to the Law Academy. I can't. Hello?
I can
Oh
hear
my.
you. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I can hear you.
What's happening?
Please
What's
let us
happening?
know when
Hello?
you are done. I can hear
Oh
you,
my God.
Anne.
I can't hear anything. I
Please,
cannot
can someone else hear me?
hear anything. This
Please, can
is
someone
not
else
good.
hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you very much. And I think it's your network. All right, but we heard you. We heard your
Oh God.
presentation. And please confirm that
I
you
can't
can
hear
hear me first.
anything. I can't.
Oh, you cannot hear anything. Please check if it is your network. Okay. So Sir Aliyu, thank you very much for the feedback. Okay. But I need to confirm if Anne can hear me because you're going to be scoring her. Sir Aliyu, you're going to be scoring her. All right. You're going to tell us your name and then give her a score. You are the hiring manager. So Aliu, you're going to be the hiring manager for the class. All right. She said, I can't hear you or anyone else. That's serious. But we can hear you. So sorry guys. Let me respond to her so she doesn't have a distorted learning experience. Just give me a second. Let me respond to her. Um,
Hello.
yes, good evening, sir. Please hold on just a minute. Let me respond to her.
Hello. Good evening, man. Good evening, the class. If I'm to make the assessment for the young lady that just made the presentation now, I think I'll rate her maybe around 50%, due to the
Okay.
fact that she was unable to give some cogent reasons why she should be employed. In fact, she centered around demonstrating her abilities, which I believe she should also try as much as possible to leverage on uh, technology to see how she can contribute her quota for the for the job. I think whatever you are trying to do these days, there is no way you can skip technology because it's with technology that you can move any organization forward. But I think she has done very well, and I will rate her around 50%. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much, sir. So, if she was to get the job, um, if she were not the only candidate for the job, would you hire her? Sir Aliyu, the question is still for you.
Okay.
Yes, I was asking if she were not the only candidate for the job, would you hire her based on what she said?
If she's not the only person, we'll look for somebody that has a very good background, on technology. Because these days, there's no organization that can flourish without a very good background of technology. In other words, in fact, uh, most organizations prefer candidates that are versatile in technology. Because with technology, you can save costs, do work efficiently. In fact, do a lot of things that correspond to modern modern days. So if there's any other person
Okay,
that
so
has
that means
a higher background, I think we will not be able to select.
okay, so that means it's a no for you, right? Mm, okay. Please confirm that you can hear me, sir.
No, I can hear you,
Okay,
but
okay. So from what you said, it means that you're not going to hire her. Okay, because
no,
she
if
didn't
we cannot.
give
We,
reasons.
we we can only hire her if she's the only candidate. Then we try as much as possible to ensure that she improves on technology. on
Okay,
the use
all
of
right, all
technology
right,
yes.
all right. Thank you very much for the honest feedback. I don't know if Anne is on the call, right? And if she can hear us. But Anne, you've gotten your feedback from Sir Aliu, and I believe that that was a constructive feedback because he actually said that if you are or the only person on the offer that's for the job, they would hire you and train you, right? And which shows good company culture, all right? Yeah, company culture ensures that people do not leave as they come. All right. Thank you very much, Sir Aliu, for the feedback. And thank you very much, Anne, also. I'm so sorry. Probably you had to go off the call. So I have to call someone else. Yeah. So I can see Ade Ademola, right? I can see Ademola on the call. All right. So Ademola, good evening. Please tell us why we should hire you. Normally, right? Our scenario plays, everybody gets a different topic, but today we're just trying to do test run. I told us that this is an introductory class, so we are here to have fun. So everyone is going to be sharing the same topic for today, okay? But subsequently in our next impromptu presentation classes, everyone gets a different topic so that we are all on the same page. So Ademola, please unmute yourself and tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy. Thank you. Let me add you to stage. Yes, Ademola, please unmute yourself and tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, hello, good evening. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you good. I can hear you, sir. Good evening.
Okay, so good evening. My name is Ademola Okanaya, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to discuss the possibility of filling the role as country director for the Law Academy. I have a background in business administration, also have an MBA in business administration, and I have worked across various sectors of the economy. I've worked in finance, I've worked in project management, I've worked in HR, I've worked in operations. I've worked in the non-profit space. So what that has given me is a whole complete set of skills, cross-cutting skills I can bring to bear on this role. I've had over 15 years working experience. Within those years, I've built networks I can leverage on. I've built friendships. I know people in different places. All those contacts can also be brought to bear in taking the law academy to the next level. And lately, I've lately been interested in AI and how AI can impact the workplace positively. I've learned, I've taken some courses. I've also used AI to some level. So of course, I can also bring that to bear. Use AI to automate some of your operations. Use AI to do research and all things like that. So yes, I believe I'm a good fit for this role. I bring a lot of diverse skills, which are important. I'm also very, very tech savvy. I'm very comfortable with the Microsoft Office suites. I'm comfortable with making presentations. I'm comfortable talking to people. So, like I said, I believe I'm a good role, and I hope that you also feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone, something just came to my mind to say credentials. Oh, whoa. You came to bamboozle everybody. Thank you so very much. All right, so I wouldn't be the one scoring you, right? Angela, please, if you can hear us, kindly unmute yourself and tell us if you would be hiring Mr. Ademola for the role of country coordinator for the Law Academy and why. Thank you. Angela, can you hear me? Please, if you cannot speak or you're in a noisy environment, just let us know, all right? So that we can move to the next person without wasting time. And if you're struggling to unmute yourself, just look at the interface. You will see something that looks like a mic, all right? Click on it to unmute yourself. I don't know if you're joining with your laptop or your phone, but if you are joining with your phone, the interface show you where the microphone is. If you're joining with your laptop, just beneath where we have the various people's names and the squares, you would see, a microphone and other buttons you can actually play with. But if you're not able to access your microphone, we would have to move to Anne. Okay, Anne, you have to be the one to score him. I believe you were here when he made his presentation, and I don't know if you can still hear us and the feedback that was given on your presentation. Okay, so Mr. Ali, you gave a feedback on your presentation, right? And I do believe that today is the first day, all right? So no pressures whatsoever. You did well, it gets better. Okay, so confirm for me in the chat if you heard his feedback so that I don't repeat his feedback. But while we're waiting for that confirmation, please unmute yourself and tell us a feedback for Mr. Ademola's presentation. And if you were the hiring manager, would you hire Mr. Ademola based on his presentation? Thank you. And can you hear me?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, before you start,
Yes.
did you hear Mr. Aliu's feedback on your presentation?
Yes, I heard. I don't know if that was the later part where he said I should improve more on um my technological skills.
Okay.
I got that. Yes.
Mm, okay,
Yeah,
all
but I
right, no
don't know if that
problems.
was all about it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
For
okay.
Mr. Demola's presentation. Um I think I'll hire him. I think I'll give him an 80. Looking at
Okay.
his CV, he's well read, he's got a lot of experience which would help us, in the academy. Now, additionally, drawing from what Mr. Liu said, he already has the skill, um, ICT skills, which is very relevant, and his ability to be able to relate with various people at different levels. Because when we go international, you're going to meet a lot of people from different fields, and his ability to be comfortable, I think it's impressive. So I think I would hire him. Can you still
All
hear me?
right. I can hear you. I was waiting for you to be done. All right. So, Mr. Ademola,
Oh.
congratulations. You have a job. You have it. Anne, can you still hear me? So, congratulations, Mr.
Yes, I can.
Ademola. You have a job. You have a job from Anne. And your hiring manager said she's going to hire you.
Welcome to the team.
Well, okay, so let me give my own feedback before we call the next person. Well, Mr. Demola, that was really brilliant, right? Well done. I also noticed the way you were able to think about what you needed to say before you said them. Okay, so for every point you mentioned, you had to take your time to actually explain the points, which is very impressive because that's the goal of being an effective communicator. You don't need to rush what you want to say, but because it is already part of you, okay, you can easily call these things forth. All right, and I saw how you were able to apply, you know, doing people a favor, because you really sounded like you were doing us a favor with all with all your skills, and that was really interesting to listen to. Well done. All right, so we're going to be before we call the next person, Angela, please can you confirm that you are able to speak at the moment? Have you been able to figure out how to use the buttons, or is there any other problem? Are you in a noisy place? Just give us feedback so that we know the persons we are working with for this particular role play scenario. All right. Angela, please, you can drop the feedback in the comments or you can unmute yourself. Thank you. Okay, so Mr. Aliyu, we would have to have you now. Okay, please unmute yourself and tell us why we should hire you as the country coordinator for the Law Academy. Thank you very much. Your time starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for having me, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this important team. If I'm considered, I think I will play a critical role in ensuring that we move the academy forward in view of the following. I'm a graduate of economics with master's degree in business administration. I'm also a chartered accountant. And at the same time, I've worked with so many multinational organizations. In fact, I've been working all along as a team leader in most of the organizations I worked. So I have a lot of background in having to have, managing a team, which is the core, in any delivery. And most importantly, I've been working with so many, the organization I've worked with, have been already digitized, meaning that technology is also one of the key pillars for the success of the organizations I worked. So I think I will ensure that this organization use technology in order to save costs, to ensure efficiency, and also to promote the activities of the organization beyond just being a local, but to see the organization to at a global level. This is what I have, and I believe I'm going to be considered for the job. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Aliyu. Mr. Ademola, you have to be the one to tell us, as the hiring manager, if Mr. Aliyu were one of your candidates considering the role of the country coordinator for the Law Academy, would you hire him, seeing that you already have the role? And okay, let's now change the scenario a bit. Mr. Demola, you are about to hand over and you are looking for your successor. Since you got the role, according to Anne's verdict, that you've been successfully hired. Now you've served and you are about to hand over, and Sir Aliu is one of your candidates who are applying. Would you hire him based on his presentation? You tell us why and you give us your points. Thank you very much. Mr. Adimola, please, can you hear me? Oh, he was just here a minute ago. Please, can
Hello,
confirm that?
I'm so I'm in the middle of something now. So sorry.
Okay. So can you speak at the moment, or should we call someone else?
Can I move to somebody else, please?
Okay, all right, no problem. It's okay. So I don't know if Angela has been able to fix her issue. Angela, please, I'm not hearing you. Are you on the call, or what technical issue are you? Are you having a technical issue, or do you need us to assist you with something? Just let us know so that we can all have a collaborative experience. Okay, so I'm very particular about not being the one to do the review because I actually want us to exercise our speaking skills. So Anne, please, if you can do us the honors again, if you can do us the honors again, okay, of being the one to tell us if you would want to hire Sir Aliyu, all right, and why. Okay, just help us with that while we are getting ready to round up for today. Thank you very much. And are you on the call, please? Oh, I don't know. Can you hear? I cannot hear you. Are you speaking?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now. Thank you very much.
Good. I can't hear. Hello?
You can't hear? I can hear you.
Let me. Hello, hello. Oh my God.
Okay. All right. So let's not waste time for want of time so that we can save time. Okay, so I'll be the one to, decide. All right. So firstly, I want to start by saying well done, sir. Okay? Because when I listened to your presentation, I saw a lineup of beautiful experiences, being able to work with international companies, multinational companies, national companies, and all of that, right? But I noticed something that, when I started the presentation, I said something about filler words, okay? And filler words are words that we use to put ourselves together while we are trying to make our next point. So I noticed that you use a lot. Please, if people should tell me if it's something that people that have made it in this life used to use. Sometimes when you've made it in this life, you just um take your time. But it was really impressive, okay? It was really impressive. So if I'm the one to hire you, yes, I would hire you because one of the greatest things business people do is they know how to leverage on their staff. Sometimes you might call it, using people, but it's not using people, it is leverage. Okay, now when Mr. Demola was speaking as well, and Anne gave her feedback, she said, because of your network of experience, I would hire you because we would need this network of experience to be able to grow our company. And I would say well done to Sir Aliyu and Sir Ademola, because you were able to sell yourself. One thing about job interviews or any speaking engagement is your ability to sell yourself without coming off as being proud, or being condescending in such a way that, oh, I know I'm supposed to sound like I'm doing you a favor, but then I deserve this, right? So for everyone that participated today, I'm very sure that we are already exercising our vocal cords because we're going to need it a lot. All right, Sir Aliyu, for my end, I would say yes, I would hire you, but would also need to do some training. All right, and the training would be on um the ability to merge your experience, that's the experiences you already have, and how you can use the experience for us, because you didn't really tell us how you're going to use that experience for us. I'm just the one that said, okay, we're going to use it to be able to leverage on, the network. But I think it could have been a strong selling point if you had told us that with your, networks, you'll be able to help us. Even if you're not going to be hired in marketing, you're going to help the marketing team to be able to get to more persons who can actually sponsor the academy, because every business person is looking for people that will impute money. But then I do hope that this role play has given us a feel into what impromptu presentation really feels like. And Mr. Aliyu, please, do you have any comments, any feedback? Do you want to say something? Does anybody else want to say something before we move forward as regards, calling today's session to a close? All right, do you have anything you want to say, please, Mr. Aliyu? Do you have something you want to say?
Yes, ma. I think
Okay, please go ahead.
the class was very wonderful. In fact,
Okay.
it's trying to, the thing is that public speaking is a very, very serious and great challenge to most of professionals. It's
Mm,
not only for somebody to have the skills, the professional skills, but the problem is how to, communicate is a major reason and a major problem we are facing as professionals.
mm,
I think with
mm,
with this kind of interaction, especially when you are asked to speak without preparation, I think that will sharpen our, critical reasoning skills. This is a
mm.
good one, and I think the training is worth doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, sir. We would also make available opportunity for chat class review on the chat, right? So you can just drop the review on WhatsApp. So Mr. Ademola, you said you are busy, you are in a place where you cannot speak. Angela, I wasn't able to hear from you, and I think there are some participants on YouTube, right? But then this is where we will have to draw the curtain for today. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for being a part of today's introductory session. Today is welcome to the drill. Right, so what we just did now is a feel into what the learning experience is about. All right, so we would have to, as much as possible, make sure that we are in a quiet environment. We also have to make sure that once it's time for this class, please have your earpiece, your headset, or anything that can aid communication, all right, so that you can participate fully. The whole aim of this class is to create a participatory experience. It's not normal university setting or what we've been used to throughout our lives in learning. We're just listening, and we're not really given the opportunity to speak. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we really want to have to call this class to a close for today, and we sincerely appreciate everyone who took out time to be in class today, who registered for this course, who believed in our academy and what we have, even with little or no interaction with the academy. You just paid and you trusted us to, walk you through this process. We like to call ourselves your trusted growth partner. So we are the Law Academy. We are your trusted growth partner. In case you want, one-on-one tutoring, but it's virtual, we are open to that. You want us to train your team, we are also open to that, right? You want us to train your staff, we are open to that. You want us to collaborate with you, or create courses like this for the government or any sector you occupy, and you really need us to work with you, please feel free to reach out to us. I am on the group chat as Marigold Okoye. Okay, I'm the person that was saying you are welcome, and I was adding some things to your fears or the things you said you wanted to learn. So if you check the chats, our programs coordinator was actually welcoming everyone, but the person who was actually interacting, like giving points and trying to share more insight as to how to get better with communication and how to overcome it, that's me. So if you want to chat me privately, please feel free to do that, and we would see us in class. Our next class is on Tuesday. There's going to be a reminder. We're also going to draw up the timetable and the program schedule for the classes. Now, I also want to state that at the end of your training, at the end of the 6 days, you're going to get an ebook. You're also going to get a self-reflection guide. All right, this is what helps you to check yourself, all right, how far you've gone and how well you are able to put your thoughts in place. We're also going to attach some other learning materials and checklists that would help you get better at the act of public speaking and impromptu presentation. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll meet ourselves on the group chat. Till our next class, keep being amazing. Bye.